Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words, become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about why I cannot stand picky eaters. I saw this tweet a while back that said, never trust a man that complains about food. Because food in itself is a blessing, and whenever a guy is whimpering and whining about certain food, you need to watch out for them. I resonated with this tweet. Now, the first thing I want to say is I don't think it's wrong to have preferences for food, where if you like a certain classy style of food versus a non-classy style of food, if you have the preference for that, I think that is perfectly fine. What I think is weird, though, is when there is an alternative that is introduced to you, and rather than eventually eating it, you're over here moping away and you're just being annoying. The reason that this tweet resonated with me so much is because anytime that I have met a picky eater, I also met someone that was not mentally tough. They were not resilient. Whenever there was an opportunity to whine, they would always exercise that opportunity. A couple of years ago, I knew this one picky eater. This was during my time in college, where I thought it was immediately strange that a college kid would be a picky eater. During college, you're eating whatever is given to you. You go to the food courts, you'll eat that. Taco Bell, eat that. McDonald's, eat that. This guy, he was just a little fancier with it. And I recall him always complaining whenever the foods, like the style, it was not up to his expectations. Initially, I did not think much of it. But as more time went on by, one day, we're taking a road trip from Tampa all the way to Gainesville. And I just recall this guy was whining and whining away. During traffic, it's like, oh man, there's so much traffic. Why is it taking so long today? All the boys were bonding with each other. This was a great time to just have conversations, trade stories. This guy, I'll just call him Arnie for the sake of the story, is whining away. By the time that we get to the Gainesville location, what happens is that one guy is hosting us, and this guy happens to be a college student as well. So he doesn't really have money like that. He doesn't have extra beds or anything. What he does is he allows us to sleep on his floor. The main thing that the rest of the friend circle got was he's allowing us to stay at a spot. What Arnie got out of this whole thing was no beds, no futons, no air mattresses. And he was whining about that again. We thought, okay, let's just make Arnie go ahead, take a shower. Let's get the food ready so he could eventually stop his whining. By the time the host comes back with the food, we see one thing that's missing: the buns. There's a lot of hamburger patties, but there's no hamburger buns. And for the rest of us guys, we're like, at least we got hamburger patties, a lot of protein. We're good to go. By the time Arnie comes downstairs, he's like, no buns? Oh no, no buns. How am I gonna eat a hamburger without buns? And he's just being a baby. One thing I've noticed with picky eaters is that they're not too far from Arnie. When push comes to shove, these guys will whine a lot. I respect men that are like, you know what, it doesn't really matter what the food is. Eventually, if it provides me nutrition, and this is all we have, by the way. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're going hiking. The only thing nearby is this place. I'm not going to be a picky eater with them. I'm going to consume what is nearby me because I'm not going to lose sight of the bigger picture. Food is not life. Food is simply a complement to life. So that's one red flag I've always just noticed with people. Like if they walk slow, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna keep some distance from you, especially if you are an able-bodied man. If you talk crap about everyone, I'm gonna keep some distance from you because eventually you're gonna switch up on me. And another little mental hook that I have is if they're a picky eater, this is not a guy that I want to go to war with. I believe when push comes to shove, this picky eater will quit real fast because they lack that toughness. If you enjoyed today's talk, be sure to drop that like for me right on below. And thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. Do not forget to hit subscribe. Thank you.